Jack, congratulations for the win, but my question is for Patrick. Can you please explain us what happened with Nick and what happened with the changing matchup, because we're a little bit in a cloud.
Join the club.
Yeah, what happened with Rafa?
Nick has had a little bit of a shoulder issue coming in. Obviously, he was able to play quite well yesterday, but I think the amount of tennis he played yesterday just came up this morning, and he was feeling something in his shoulder that had been bothering him, but not significantly. So significantly it was this morning. Tried to warm up twice, 2 different times, and it was pretty obvious that he wasn't going to be able to go full out. So that's when we knew we had to make a change. Unfortunately, the rules that are in place did not allow us to make the sort of changes that we would have preferred to make, because since it was our turn on Sunday to match up against their players, we were basically denied that once the schedule was put out. So once Nadal just pulled out, our options were limited. We would have put Shapovalov in as our next player, but because it was matched up against Team, we were not allowed to do that. So that was the reason for our protest, that we decided to wait a little bit before we left the locker room, because we don't think that's fair.
Yeah, Waldo?
You don't think it's fair? And what you would have asked? I mean, what were you asking?
Oh, we were asking
Shapovalov
that we'd be able to change our lineup about who plays who, because they put in their 3 players, and then we matched up to play against their players today. And then when we got here this morning, obviously Rafa pulled out, but then we weren't allowed to shuffle our lineup. So in other words, we could have had Isner play against Team.
Yeah.
But we weren't allowed to do that.
Or
Milos or anybody else played Team in this match. But we weren't allowed to play Shapovalov, so we could have played Jack Sock in the singles as well. Those were our options. So we would have liked to be able to change who was playing whom today.
I understand. Well, apart from
Because the whole point of being able to have the
They saw our lineup yesterday.
They saw our lineup yesterday, and
us.
they said, okay, we want Roger to play whomever he played yesterday. I can't even remember now. You know what I'm saying? So today was our chance to say, okay, well, they've got Nadal, Federer, and Zverev. What's our best lineup against those 3 players?
On the most important day.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that Dominic Thiem was the first player here this morning to practice, very early this morning,
So
well before we heard that Nadal was pulling out.
Oh.
He was here before.
You understand our predicament.
So do you think they knew already yesterday night that Nadal was not able to play?
I'll leave that up to you to decide.
Oh, not so tricky, this Europe team, huh? I mean, what do you think? Is they tricky?
We can talk about the doubles too, or I'll go watch Fritz unless you guys want to talk about the doubles as well. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd rather
any
go
questions
support,
for Jack?
or we can talk about the lineup all day. Pretty important match here.
Yeah, the back.
Jack, on the doubles, coming back from that set down and that the cliffhanger that was the match tiebreak, just talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we had an early break in the first. We came out, pretty red hot again. Great game to break, and then a sloppy service game on my end to give it back. Obviously, ended up losing the first. I thought they both played really well. I thought Tsitsipas was on fire again with his returns and stuff for a bit. We were able to get the energy up again, midway through the second, get that break, carry that momentum, and obviously, Sir Fritzy. Apparently, the match tiebreaks can go anyway. You never know. We had early mini breaks, gave them back, down mini breaks, and then came up with some really good shots at the end, and gave Team World the lead. And I'm excited to get this over with and go cheer on Taylor.
Jack, just one more question, not only about your doubles, but about the whole weekend. I mean, you've played amazingly well. How can you explain, is it the Laver Cup that all of a sudden, I know you had a tough year with your injury, but you seem to really enjoy playing in the Laver Cup, and always it brings out the best of you.
Yeah, I like team atmospheres. I grew up playing team sports. I know Nick said the same. Isner. I mean, a lot of, I mean, probably Taylor as well. If you're American, you probably grew up playing a lot of team sports, and so we really thrive off. I mean, when you can play a point, I feel like no matter how good or bad you're playing in a tournament leading up to this, and you can look over at guys that, I mean, for us, we're all really close. I feel like you look over and they're supporting you, and then you have both Max. You know, they're fist bumping and they're getting you going. I feel like you can't really play bad when you have that going on. So. Yeah, I thrive in the atmosphere. I love a loud crowd, whether they're European or for us. I just like the atmosphere.
Jack, last night I met somebody called Eric Sock, and he was quite enthusiastic. And he said, United States of America is the best place in the world, and Nebraska is much better than Tuscany. I'd like to know, I'd like to know if you really have, you feel all this atmosphere around you, and what do you think about Tsitsipas? Because he was able to lose in doubles, once with Nadal and once with Federer in 24 hours. Is he good doubles player in your opinion, or maybe the Europe should have played with somebody else? I know it's tough to answer.
Part A, I would say. I love being American. I'm proud of where I'm from. Yeah, Nebraska may not be the most scenic place, but it's home for me. It's where I was born. So, yeah, I love Nebraska. I love the Midwest. Part B.
Isn't it his birthday today?
And it's my brother's birthday, so that's probably why he was all high
fired
energy.
up.
That's out. Part B, Tsitsipas. No, I really. I mean, it's not his fault. You know, I don't think it's when doubles, it's both guys. You win as a team, you lose as a team. I would appreciate maybe we played all right. You know, maybe we played pretty well to win the match as well. It wasn't just Tsitsipas's fault that he lost both matches. He's
We're in super tie.
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a hell of a player. Obviously, he's 7 in the world, and so I think he's a pretty good tennis player. And if you give him Roger and Rafa as a partner, probably going to win 9 times at it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're going to win a lot of the time. We came up with some great tennis. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Team
all.
World.
Yep, one more for Craig.
See you later.
Sorry. Go ahead,
Oh.
Jackie. Go ahead, Jack.
Sorry.
Here we go, Fritzy.
Patrick, just on the point about Nick, the shoulder you suggested has been a bit of an issue the last couple of days. Then why pick him last night to play today if there was a bit of a question mark on the shoulder?
Well, we didn't really know it was going to flare up the way it did. So I think it's a great question. In retrospect, if we had known that if he played 4.5 tough sets, that it would flare up the way it did, we probably would have played him in doubles the first night and had him just play 1 match per day. But there was no sign that was going to be an issue. So he just told us, you know, he'd been feeling it a little bit, even in his practice week. But it wasn't totally clear to us coming in that he thought it would be an issue, nor did we. So, but I think it's a good question. If we had known it, you know, probably similar with Rafa. You know, Rafa obviously said his wrist had been bothering him a little bit coming in. Maybe in retrospect, he shouldn't have played back-to-back matches.
And just playing devil's advocate on this, if Rafa hadn't pulled out, do you think he would have still played Nick, or do you think there may have been a situation of replacing Nick?
I don't believe Nick could play today. It doesn't matter who he was against. I mean, I was at both his warm-ups, and he did not look ready to play.